Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hi, I'm back.
She's back. She's back. And hey, we've got some surprising news. I'm actually very surprised by this news given the company. Kotaku is no longer on strike because they caved.
Well, they have a tentative agreement.
A tentative agreement.
That's fun to say, tentative.
Tentative agreement has been reached with Kotaku's owners, Geo Media, and that does include other sites that they own. They had a walkout last week. They made some demands regarding health insurance and working from home. And
some of them I thought were fair, and some of them I was like, really?
Yeah, I don't think they were as ridiculous as Image Comics.
Oh yeah, nowhere near. No.
But we're gonna talk about this because I do think that this long term is going to be a potential death blow against Kotaku, because we've seen how Geo Media has dealt with other editorial teams, that decided to push back against management, and these websites are not making nearly the money they used to make. They're running out of venture capital. I think it's just going to slow or speed up the decline, the consolidation possibly of these websites. I don't know. We'll talk about it. So before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Over 260,000 subs. Thank you for the support. We do talk about the video game industry. We talk about websites and monetization. Owning several websites ourselves, and we weren't surprised that management was hesitant to give Kotaku writers and others who work for Geo Media more money, because we can tell you the ad revenue is not there.
Right, and that's what, and we're going to talk about that in a second here, that, you have it there? Yeah, there was this tweet, and like every cent of profit Chris Gaffney makes off of Geo Media, it's union made, but management's bargaining team claims they can't afford $3,000 more annually for lowest tier members. They probably can't, because the ad revenue is shit now. The ad stuff's down. I'm sorry, but people are spending their spends on video.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. As people who own websites, it probably is true. And quite frankly, Kotaku spent more time chasing people off than they've been gaining more people. So even if they have the views, it doesn't get the ad rates, and they probably don't get as many views as they used to, because they kept doing political shit all the damn time.
Yeah, they had to pivot last year. Their new editor-in-chief came in and said, hey, we're going to have to change it up here at Kotaku, because what we're doing is not working very well. Well, no duh. A lot of these websites, Kotaku, Polygon, they become laughing stocks for a lot of gamers. A lot of the pop culture sites. We saw it happen with Newsarama. Newsarama was at one point in time like the biggest comic book site out there. And, it became kind of a joke. And then it got folded into a bigger video game website. And eventually they got rid of the editor completely. And now it's just like the comics tab on Games Radar. And that's what could potentially happen here. In my opinion, it might not happen overnight.
Oh, I don't think it'll happen overnight.
But we saw IO9 get folded into Gizmodo again, another Geo Media thing. And I have to wonder if this isn't just a Band-Aid on a stab wound, because they stopped writing. Everybody stopped writing.
Right. And if it keeps going on, they just needed something like, to get people back in the seats until they figure out their plan. And if it keeps going on, I mean, it might be cheaper just to let people go with the severance and find other people than it would be to keep it going. I'm not saying that's what they'll do, but if the rates keep going down and the viewership isn't there.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, and I want to be very clear. We've said before, we're not anti-union.
No.
But in a lot of cases, when it comes to media lately, the push for unionization has been more about controlling editorial content, controlling the product that the company produces. A lot of strong arming of management to make the website something maybe that management doesn't want it to be. And at that point, walk away and go start your own thing, And Geo Media has definitely, put the kibosh on a lot of this with, again, look at Deadspin. They were told to stick to sports.
Yeah, write about what you're supposed to write about, not politics.
Yeah. And, they left a bunch of people go. They had some people quit. And they rehired, I guess, all the writers, and they're all non-union. This kind of happened at Kickstarter, too. They unionized. And it wasn't just like, hey, we want better working conditions. It was, hey, we want to be able to dictate the content that Kickstarter produces. And the first chance they had, they got rid of most of the union employees. They just bought them out and said, hey, yeah, the business yeah, things aren't doing so good. Not doing so good. So, I mean, I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer here for these writers, but I'm thinking if this is a tentative agreement, it's going to be the same kind of a thing where they're going to be like, yeah, we need content on the websites, and everybody walked out. So we'll give you a tentative agreement. Then the first chance we get, hey, guess what? We're reorganizing the company. Hey, guess what? We're selling the websites. Guess what? We're consolidating, and we're just going to kick your asses to the curb.
I don't know. I mean, I just think that they're like, oh, they can give him $3,000 more base, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, I'm not trying to be a bitch here, but a lot of stuff I see on these sites, especially like the smaller ones, like Jezebel and The Root and all those. I mean, what do you do that warrants $3,000 more? I mean.
Yeah, again, you have to bring the views, and I guess my suggestion, if you'd really like to know what it's like out there right now, is go start your own website, go start your own YouTube channel, and you'll see that the ad rates are not what they once were, especially with everything going on in the world right now. A lot of people are hesitant to make big spends.
There's article after article about it. I love this. The reasons for the strike are multiple. My colleagues and I at Kotaku and across our sister sites are on strike starting today following management's refusal to budge on a number of issues, including bad pay and anti-trans health benefits, the senior reporter said. The demands made by the union included salary minimums and healthcare coverage compliant with the standards laid out by the World Professional Association for Transgender Health. Now, look, I mean, I think that if you're giving health insurance and that's something that you're doing, you should be inclusive on that. I mean, that I can see that, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's a huge ask. The fact that you're getting health insurance at all, right?
You're lucky.
You're lucky. There are a lot of people who work, I'm not trying to be a dick, but more prestigious positions than video game journalists. A lot of people work in more prestigious positions, and they do not have health insurance or adequate health insurance.
And they wanted salary minimum, so increases in salary and stuff. And I'm like, you're going to be a salaried writer. You know how many writers could be salaried writers? Not a whole lot. And I mean, and quite frankly, as somebody who owns blogs and stuff, I don't think, unless someone's really, really good and bringing it all the time, a salaried position is something that you would do. And in some states, you'd have to have, there's different requirements for salary positions, including people that work underneath you and things like that.
Yeah, so we had, I've talked about this before. I used to work for newspapers, magazines, and the one publisher I worked for, they actually published, they have multiple publications, and they also printed other people's stuff. And there was a massive investigation. One of the graphic designers, as I recall, had the Department of Labor come in because this person was on salary, but there were no subordinates,
Right. And then they would work you like ridiculous hours because, your salary.
Yeah. Now, in my case, I was managing editor, so
that made sense for you.
It made sense for me because I did have people underneath me and I worked some long ass hours, but this graphic designer had nobody working underneath him, and they put him on salary just to be able to work 50, 60, 70 hours a week without overtime. In that case, I think, it's pretty scuzzy. Yeah. And I was kind of, that publisher anyway, that was the one that I told you, I think I told people about before, that they actually had sold off the printing division just to get rid of the printers union issue because they wanted to unionize, and they're like, yep, you know what? Yeah, you're already some of the highest paid printers in the state. We're done. Sold off the printing half of it.
Yes, they don't deal with it anymore.
Yeah.
Which is what a lot of these places will do.
Yes,
now,
they will.
I mean, I can see it if like your like rates are like way below, industry standards. Okay, I can see it. But they're like, they can't get $3,000 more per person. Times how many people? How many people are you speaking of? Well, one person doesn't sound much.
Yeah, the thing is that these games journalists are actually very, very well paid. I know there was a kind of an expose on what some of them made, and it was $50,000 to $100,000 plus a year. For some of the grunts. I think the editorial were making more than that, and I'm like, you guys barely play video games, and you're making like ridiculous. You
get a
money.
PS5 to review, and you go on about Trump.
Yeah. I mean, if it were me. Okay, if it were me, I would be like, okay, fine, we'll give you some of your, some of the grievances here, but in exchange, you will not write about this.
That's what I'm wondering. There going to be mandates.
You will not write about that. You'll keep the politics out of it. You will focus on trying to build the blog up to bring traffic in, and not just endlessly try to cause division and outrage, which sites like Kotaku and Polygon have done for the last few years. But it's very easy to do that when you've got venture capital backing you up.
Mm-hmm. And also, like, they're trying to do that, though, to get the hits. Like, they want the anger clicks. But the problem is it's making the site overall more toxic, and people won't want to go there.
Yeah, so here's the story from Deadline against WGA East, settling a 5-day strike. So it didn't last very long.
No, it didn't.
But I think the owners probably had to look at the situation like, wow, or because you're talking about news sites, so their views dropped off a cliff.
Well, also let's get them back to writing, and then we'll work it out later. I mean, tentatively we'll agree to this, and then we'll get the stories back up, and then we can make, figure out who we need to get rid of after the fact.
That's what's going to happen. I can almost guarantee it. The tentative agreement now goes to the Guild's council for approval and to the bargaining unit for ratification. Again, I don't know if they got everything they wanted, and I don't know how long it's going to last, but looking at the situation with Kickstarter, they did agree to recognize the union, and then the first chance they had to throw everybody overboard, it was cheaper for them to just buy them out, buy out their contract, and replace them with non-union employees. So I'm just telling you, I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer, but I think even if they agree to this, a lot of you are on borrowed time at this point. So that's just how these things work. Sorry.
This is people who actually worked in media industry with unions and saw how it went down. So anyway, tentatively they have an agreement.
Tentatively.
So I guess that's good. And I hope it works out for everybody involved. And I hope that maybe Kotaku writers will stick to the topics more than they will stick to their personal agendas to try to get the site back on track, because then it benefits everyone.
Yeah, we'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah, well, that's the best way to go about it.
All right, so we're going to wrap it up?
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.